Since the 1930s, we have been measuring our own minds, and in that data we discovered a strange uplifting pattern. With every new generation, average IQ scores were rising, not by a little, by a significant margin. This was the Flynn Effect, discovered by James Flynn in 1984. The data was undeniable, spanning different countries, different timelines. The pattern was the same, a 3-point increase every decade. This is a massive shift. A person with an average score in 1930 would likely fall into the intellectually disabled category by the standards of today. What happened? Did humanity suddenly become super intelligent? Number. But something Chrono did change. Industrialization, better nutrition, access to education. Our brains adapted to a changing, more complex world. But this story, this optimistic climb, has begun to stall. In the last 2 decades, something profound started to happen. First noticed in Scandinavia, then in other developed nations. IQ scores are falling. The Flynn Effect is reversing. Why? What is this great decline? And what does it mean for the future of the human mind, cosmos? To understand the decline, we must first understand the chrono history of the measurement itself. What is IQ? The story of the IQ test begins not as a measure of genius, but as a tool of compassion. In 1905, Chrono, a psychologist named Alfred Binet, was asked by the French government to help solve a problem: mandatory schooling. How could they identify children who needed extra help? Binet created a test of mental age. His goal was noble: to help, not to label. But this tool was quickly taken by others and twisted into a weapon. In the United States, psychologists like Henry Goddard saw Binet's test as a way to prove a dark ideology: Eugenics. They believed intelligence was fixed, inherited, and that undesirable populations must be kept out. This twisted IQ test was used at Ellis Island to deport immigrants. It was used by the U.S. Army in World War I, proving, falsely, that certain races were inferior. The test we use today is a descendant of this complicated history, Chrono. It measures our ability to see patterns, to think abstractly, to solve problems. And for 70 years, we got better at it. We learned how to think abstractly. Instead of, what does an apple look like? We learned to ask, what category do an apple and an orange belong to? Until the 1990s. The decline began in Norway, then Denmark, Finland, France. In Finland, a dramatic drop. In Britain, the same pattern. It seems the modern world that made us smarter is now making us dumber. How? The answer may be hidden in the device you are holding in your hand. The first iPhone was released in 2007. Since that day, all knowledge is at our fingertips. Everything is instant. Everything is shallow. At Stanford, a study was done. One group read a text on printed paper, the other on a digital screen. The printed paper group was vastly superior in remembering details, understanding character motivations, and connecting events. Why? Eye tracking devices show us. On a screen, we F-shape read. We read the top lines, skim the middle, and glance at the left. We are not reading, we are skimming. This is not just a habit, it is rewiring our brains. On printed text, the deep reading parts of the brain are active. On a screen, the fast decision-making and visual processing regions are active. Worse, every hyperlink, every notification, every advertisement tells our brain, maybe something more important is over there. It is a constant, fragmented distraction. We are losing our ability to read deeply. Microsoft research shows our attention span in 2000 was 12 seconds. In 2015, it was 8 seconds. A goldfish is 9. We tell ourselves we are masters of multitasking, but science says multitasking doesn't exist. It is just rapid task switching. And every time we switch, we pay a cognitive price. The brain, the prefrontal cortex, must stop one task and load the next. Think about it. You are writing an email. A message arrives. Your brain stops the email, loads the message. When you return to the email, your brain must spend energy to reload that original task. We lose focus. The information never makes it to our long-term memory, the hippocampus. We are less efficient and we remember less. But is technology the only culprit? Number. The picture is bigger and cosmos more terrifying. Researchers in Norway noticed something else. The decline was happening within the same families. Younger siblings often had lower IQs than their older siblings. This wasn't just genetics. The environment, cosmos, is changing. In 2022, a stunning discovery, microplastics, were found in human blood for the first time, in 80% of people tested. And these particles, we now know, can cross the blood-brain barrier. What do they do inside the brain? Research shows they disrupt the membranes of our neurons, slowing communication, and in some cases causing inflammation and cell death. We are not just using plastic, we are breathing it, we are eating it. Add to this air pollution. Harvard studies show a direct link between particulate matter and cognitive decline. These particles are so small they enter our blood, and from there, our brain. In China, studies showed that on high pollution days, students' test performance dropped dramatically. And there is more. Our sleep quality has collapsed. Our diets are now full of ultra-processed foods. We are sedentary, sitting on average 11 hours a day. Physical activity, which builds new neurons, is gone. The modern world is a cocktail of cognitive disruptors. So, is this the end? Is the trend irreversible? First, we must ask, Chrono, is IQ even the right measurement anymore? What did smart mean in 1950? And what does it mean today? Artificial intelligence is here. Google answers every question. ChatGPT writes our code. Perhaps we no longer need the intelligence of memorization. Perhaps we need the intelligence of curiosity. The ability to see patterns, not just calculate. To think collectively, not just alone. This is why Google no longer uses brain puzzles in interviews. They test for counterfactual thinking, critical thought. They give you a problem and ask you to explain why the solution won't work. Amazon uses simulations. They test for adaptation. IBM tests for collective problem solving. The definition of cosmos intelligence is changing. But this decline, Chrono, is still a warning. It tells us that our modern world gave us much, but it also took something. Our deep focus, our long attention span. The brain is adaptive. It can change. It can heal. We just have to create the right environment. Perhaps the solution is not a digital detox, but a mental detox. Sometimes slowing down, sometimes just thinking, giving our brains time to process, to heal, and to create. Perhaps in the future IQ tests will be displayed in museums, but for now, we have small steps to take. Until next time. If you wish to support our mission of mapping these complex journeys through history, Chrono, and science, cosmos, consider subscribing. Or, if you are able, support us directly. It allows us to continue building this library of knowledge. Thank you for watching.